Yeah, so for my app, MandoCast, the goal is to have a video auto-captioned. Think of like Skype with subtitles automatically generated for you. Right now, I just have the speech to text and text to translate done. But in the future, hopefully, it'll have a video chat built into it too. But I'm just going to run you through a demo of what it actually does. And so you can broadcast it to whoever. And if you go to that URL, it should work on your computers. And so you first select the language here, and for this one, I'm going to be speaking in English in a United States dialect. And does anyone have a language they want to read it in? I don't really speak a whole lot of others. Any? French. We will translate to French. And so if there's a lot of ambient noise, it doesn't necessarily work. So I'm going to ask everyone to just be like really silent for like a minute here. And so this is MandoCast. It should be working and should be translating. And so if people understand French, hopefully this translates it well. And there's a little bit of a delay, but once you stop talking, then it starts translating. So that's it. It uses the web speech API built into the latest Chrome browser. I'm not sure if any other browsers support it. And it uses Google Translate to translate the text and pipes it through MongoDB to everyone else who's listening on that URL. And the goal is in the future is hooking up video so you can video chat and speak with someone who's maybe a native Spanish speaker if you're trying to learn the language, so you can hear how things sound and understand what they should be in your native language. Any questions?
Awesome.
Sweet. It was fun and easy with Meteor. I don't know if I could have done it without it. So thank you, Meteor team, for making a sweet framework. Good.
All right, guys. My name is BizzleBusy, and I'm a huge sound enthusiast. I listen to music pretty much all day long, from the time that I wake up, when I brush my teeth, when I eat, when I drive to work, when I'm at work, after work, like literally all the time. And I think some of you guys can probably relate to that. When I find something that's awesome, when I'm listening to music, I call that the drop. And it just like makes me desk chair rave. I don't know if you guys ever done that, just fist pounding, you just love it, right? But the problem with that is that you're alone. You got your headphones on, maybe you're working, and you look around, and everybody's like, what's he fist pumping to? I don't know. So never eat alone, but never listen alone. That's my new mantra. But how do you do this? Like, what do you guys do right now? I know what I do. Maybe Spotify, you see it like, oh, my friend listened to this song. Maybe I'll click there, maybe I'll be creepy. Pandora, like comeback song, like, no, where'd that song go? It's like, whatever. SoundCloud, you're looking through the comments, maybe my friend's comments in there, but there's too many out there. And then YouTube, you just copy and paste to somebody else, but you get that all the time, and I just ignored it in Facebook. Turntable FM, you know what? Everybody wants to be a DJ. I may or may not want to actually use that service, hard to say. So what do? If you guys pop this into your computer right now, I'll show you what Sound Tailgate is all about. Give me a second. We are going to have the first Sound Tailgate ever. And I'm going to be the host here, so you guys are all attending my tailgate. And what I've done is I put a SoundCloud mix, or a SoundCloud song because I didn't want it to load too long here, into the tailgate. You all are going to be following me along. What's going to happen is I found an awesome song today. I'm going to send it out to all you guys just like I did right now. And then So you guys might want to turn on your volume, because then we're all going to be listening to the same thing at the same time where I'm playing it. So why don't you guys turn down your volume, because it's going to play on your computers. Press the play button. And as you can see, the green bar is me, the host, so you guys can see exactly where I'm at, approximately. Is that showing up? And then the blue bar is exactly where you guys are at. And you can skip around. You can do whatever you want. You guys can go forward, backward. You can say, screw you, I don't want to listen to your thing. But then you can click the sync, or you can click the snap, and you can go exactly where I'm listening to right now. And as I move around here, you also see me move around. So I could be listening to an hour-long mix, and you guys will be like, oh, nice, he's listening to this. And I'll be sending out messages saying, this is awesome right here, listen right now. I'm having a good day with all you guys. That's the sound tailgate. So I'm looking for other people who share the same passion as me. Sound, I know a lot of people love music and this and that. So please, if you like this, come talk to me afterwards, and I can explain exactly what I did here. And this is all done on Meteor and Sound Manager. So thanks.
So my name is Serlin. I had to do a lightning talk to be able to come here today, so I'm starting a new project, and it needs to work as a mobile site, as a mobile application, and on the web. So I was thinking, okay, I need to do some prototyping for Meteor to see if this will all work out awesome for me and I can actually use it. I came back to Meteor last Friday after not really looking at it for about 9 months, except for reading the updates of what was going on. And you know, I want to mention one thing up front. So there's basically 4 levels of learning that you go through, picking up any new skill or technology or anything like that. Unconscious incompetence is what you typically call like ignorant bliss. Then conscious incompetence, which is you kind of know what you don't know and you're figuring it out. Conscious competence means like you feel pretty comfortable that you can pull stuff off, but it still takes effort. And then when you get all the way to level 4, like, you know, the Meteor guys are, or people who have been using it for a long time, you forget how hard it was for you at the very beginning, because it all just comes naturally to you. And I want to say that Meteor was it was the most complicated technology that I got past these first couple stages the quickest. And that says a lot about, you know, the technology and the people behind it. So what was the big aha moment for me recently? It was I needed to do have different subsets of documents for the same collection. So I wanted my list of things and the nearby list of things, but they're all the same sort of thing. And I was trying to figure out, you know, what is the relationship exactly between collection and publish and subscribe. And it actually turns out, you know, I'm just putting it on here for anybody else who watches this video. The relationship is actually very simple. The collection acts as a database on both sides, and you just publish the subsets on the server, and you break it back out into the subsets that you want on the client. You don't need to create multiple collections for the same sorts of documents and all that kind of stuff. And moving on, so back to the mobile stuff. The first prototype I wanted to do, my basic question for mobile was will it do what the Meteor people say it's going to do, even on a mobile device wrapped in a phone gap application? So I wrapped it in a phone application. Last night I took my phone and drove around the city, and you can see, you know, where I drove and stuff. And basically it was pinging my location every second and then uploading it to the Meteor server as I was driving around. And that's actually running at speedracer.meteor.com. So you can actually pull that up on your mobile device, and if you're on a mobile device, then you can run around and it'll track you, and it'll show up as part of the races. And if you click on one of the races, this is me driving here today, and then this was me last night, and it'll tell you the distance and time and checkpoint. So the question, does it answer? Yes, it will blend in real time. It will update, it does a pretty good job. So the next question was, you know, will it blend after 90 minutes? So the basic question here is if I start doing something and then on a mobile app phone, right, it turns off after a while, and that disconnects, and then nothing really happens. And then what happens, you know, if you go back to it in an hour? Is it going to work again? Is it going to reconnect? Luckily for you and me, the answer is yes. So congratulations to the Meteor guys, and congratulations to me. That means this is probably going to work out pretty well for what I want to do. And then, as an extra sort of bonus, this is how you set up geospatial queries using Meteor on the client and the server, and how it all like sort of fits together. Because I saw like a lot of bits and pieces on the internet when I was trying to do this a couple days ago, but I, nothing just put it on one page, which it really is sort of that simple. So the first application is Speed Racer. This took me about, I don't know, maybe 2 hours. This little test here to do the speed update thing, that took me about 5 minutes. I did that while I was here today. And then here's Pop-Up City, which was the thing that I started working on to do Meteor, as sort of a meta prototype with like the spatial queries and all that kind of stuff. And this took me about 20 hours, and that was my first thing in Meteor, so like, it's a fucking awesome technology. And then finally, who the fuck am I? Here's my... I live in the city, so if you want to hang out sometime, like I'm doing my own thing right now, just hit me up on anything like this, and we can hang out at like a coffee shop. I have my favorites all over the city.
Hi, my name is Bo. I'm doing almost what Ian did, but on Titanium. I saw Titanium is a pretty good platform, prototyping really quick, and also developing JavaScript, so you didn't even have to switch language from JavaScript to Object-C. And the reason I'm doing it because, Meteor is awesome. It's like super fast. I can do everything really quick. So is Titanium. So it's like have all of the cat on me at the same time. Yeah, that picture is awesome. But the problem I encounter is if you want to connect Meteor with outside the DDP clients, most of them you have to do like a RESTful. It's really slow, and also at the same time I can't now do Meteor subscribe or Meteor call. And luckily I found really easy hack to do it. That's before that 0.57 version that had pre-1, I still haven't figured that thing out. But there is a Node.js client, you can get it, and you can actually port into Titanium. But Titanium doesn't have underscore and WS, I guess, WebSocket. So you have to grab a module from IAM-Yellow, you just download it, put on Titanium, and then you grab underscore from PIPM. And you can just do a DTP client in Titanium. Everything is real time. It's you do TI, I guess. Yeah, it's super easy. It's super easy hack. It's on GitHub if you want to find it. This is those two actually did anything. And yeah, that's me. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Let's see. Hope this works. Cool. So I picked up Meteor last summer when I saw it on Hacker News, and then I built this thing, and then I recently have been porting it to accounts and all proper grown-up app, not just a hacky prototype. And I figured it might be interesting to share some of the issues I ran into, because I imagine I'm not the only person that builds something hacky and then wants it to not suck. So here's the app. It's a very simple quiz game, right? I put up a question, and everybody in the room tries to figure out the answer as quickly as possible, right? It worked pretty well. It was an awesome game. But this one kid, instead of solving it, just sort of went in and started just fucking with it because he had all read and write permissions. So I told him to stop, and then it was fine, but I'd like a better solution. Fundamentally, what's the problem? You want to know what the current question is. So you have this questions collection, and you don't actually want to expose all of that to the user. You really want to expose only the current question, and you don't want to expose the solution. So this is how it works in the old world, right? Server state knows what round it is, and then you ask it for that question. Okay, so let's switch to meteor.publish, and let's only publish the current question, right? So same idea, only give me the question that is the current round, and then don't give me the solution. So, I mean, if you work at Meteor, you probably know, but if not, anybody know why this breaks? No, for real though, any ideas? Why does this end up not working? Okay, I will give you a hint. The problem is joins, which is to say, server state find one on the server .current round is not reactive. It just says, okay, the round is 0, and then that, unless if the 0th question gets updated, it'll update, but otherwise it'll just sort of stay in place and always give you the 0th question, even though the current round has updated. So, okay, so we were trying to use publish the easy way. You could use publish the long way. I'm not sure this is exactly the code, but this is roughly the idea, right? Where you just say, okay, I'm going to subscribe to changes to server state, and then whenever the server state changes, I'm going to send down the changed object, which is basically the current question, minus the solution. I'm going to send it down with all the variables. And this sort of works. It's like quite a bit of code. It's actually not that much code in CoffeeScript, but again, I'm not sure that this works. This is this is based on a conversation rather than code working. So this is the longer form publish question. Or you could be like, I don't even want to pass this information down through questions. Screw that. I'm just going to add it to the server state object. This actually looks like quite a bit of code. It's not that bad. But yeah, basically, when we say so you already have a next round function, and now that next round function also just copies the current question text into the server state. So
that's the Mongo way.
Yeah. So this certainly works. It avoids joins, but it's not the way that I would have naively expected it to work, and so that scares me. So luckily, is Vitaly here? I was talking to the Meteor guys, and they were like, "Oh yeah, some guy wrote a package for that. You can do joins on the server side with publish, and things work." And so if you run into this problem, sorry?
There's like a package you can do that actually does that right now.
Exactly. Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can do this. It's not performing yet, but yes, this problem is solved. It's just not obvious, and you have to go talk to the Meteor guys about it, or have heard it from me. And the final solution is this will be solved by 1.0. So if you feel like waiting, this problem will eventually go away. Cool. So just one problem that I ran into while making things grown up. I'm Alexey, and yeah, come talk to me about Meteor or whatever. I'm freelancing right now, so if you want a Meteor app done, I'm around. Thanks, guys.
Okay. How many people here don't have a Mac? A Mac. Okay, so DevWake is basically in-browser IDE based on Meteor. So first thing I'm going to demonstrate is how in a few steps you can create a basic Meteor application. And the focus is really on creating the basic infrastructure in terms of the website, the web pages, and the look and feel of the application. So we'll call it, any suggestions for a name?
Jets.
Jets, okay. And then we choose the layout. And any color that anybody likes especially? No? Okay.
First one.
Okay, so we're doing it. You'll have to bear up with the Mac challenge person. We get to choose the pages we want in our application. And we're ready to generate. So we click on finish. And our app is ready. And it launches the application on the web server, the Meteor application on the web server. And we see it right over here. And we can open it in a separate browser window. And here it is. And if we want to, going back to the app, we can open the HTML. And actually edit the HTML in the browser. But we can also edit the JavaScript or the CSS or anything. And since it's a Meteor app, it will automatically update. So it will update in real time to reflect the changes we made to the app.
If you edit the text right now, will the page change again?
I just did that.
Yeah, but now that you're on the About tab, like.
Okay. Oh, let's see.
Wow.
Because it has a built-in router. So the URL that's in here is actually the URL of the About page. On the left-hand side, what we have right over there is the output from the server. So if we have errors on the server, it will show us, so it's running on port 3310, and the Meteor is not up to date, as you can tell from all the nice slashes on the side. So if you can change your server-side code, and if you have errors in the server-side, there's a console that shows you. You can also edit your JavaScript, CSS, everything's color-coded, of course. And then there's rename, delete, etc. for everything. That's about it. Any questions? I'm done.
So I don't have anything cool to show, really, but I just wanted to kind of tell you the story about EventedMind really simply, and kind of how it started and what it's about. Has anyone, you've actually watched the videos? Has anyone gone through the Meteor source? Are you guys into that kind of thing? Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. So just, I guess, a little bit about myself. I'm Chris Mather. I started doing web applications, I guess, in the late 90s. So I've seen a lot of frameworks, and it's sort of exhausting how many frameworks there are, right? But the first time that I ever built a web application, the fact that I was able to build anything at all was just like that string of, or the kind of a twinge of excitement that I got was amazing, and I never forgot that. And so every time that I see something new, I just get jazzed by it. It's just kind of what I'm about. And so, even during the sort of dark ages of 2005 to 2010, we didn't see anything too exciting. I'll tell you a quick story. So quickly about EventedMind. I've got 19 screencasts. I'm trying to make more. This is kind of, gives you a sense of what it's about. It's pretty popular, it turns out. I expected to get not as many plays. And so this is a bit of a vanity metric, but about 200 or 500 plays. It's probably Matt just pressing play a bunch of times. And across a lot of different countries. But let me just tell you the story. So I was at an incubator, if you will. This was kind of like a co-working space, and I was working on another project. And I was helping a friend with a startup, and we were kind of doing our thing. And the Meteor guys were kind of, I think, just using the space because they needed a place to stay while the real building was getting worked on. And so I heard about these Meteor guys upstairs, and I went up there. And so I wonder what these guys are doing. And they said, oh, they built this new web framework. And they seemed pretty smart. So I poked my head around and kind of see what they're doing. They didn't really pay attention to me, but they were working pretty hard, it seemed. So I went home and I said, well, let's see what these jokers are up to. So I pulled up the source and literally just kind of, in the most inefficient way possible, started reading through each file, line by line. And so I got to this one file. And have you guys seen this? And I said, as anyone should do if they see a comment like this at the top of coding, I said, it's time to turn off Game of Thrones, sit up, pay attention, and really get it. So, and of course, brilliance ensued. And so you should go check out this file that I said. And then the next thing I did was, well, who is responsible for this line? And so I did a git blame and said, this is the CEO of this company. I said, so who is this so-called CEO? Bring him to me. So, and so this is kind of a silly story, but it's just kind of, it goes to the point of sort of why am I doing this? when I've looked at a lot of frameworks, over the years, and when you look at this code, it's inspiring. So, it literally inspired me to really want to go through it and to understand it, and to share that understanding with other people. So, whether it be this framework or sort of another framework, I'm most interested in uncovering things and learning how things work and articulating that to people. So this has been an amazing framework to do that, because I think actually, what's been done here is quite good. And there's months and months worth of material to cover. So I'm interested if anybody has feedback. If you've watched the videos, I'm always open to that. I suspect that view count after my Spark series will drop to 0. But it was an interesting experiment. So for the next couple of weeks at least, I'm going to focus on things that are sort of interesting to me. And hopefully there's enough people out there who agree. But at some point, I'll come back and start covering kind of the intro to Meteor stuff as well. So any thoughts or feedback? You don't have to, but I'll take my chances where I can get it.
Video is coming.
What's that?
Keep coming.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the time.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you came up with the name EventedMind. Is there a story behind that?
Oh, there is actually. So even before I ever heard about Meteor, I started a project about a year ago. So I came out to the Valley, worked for a company, the company sold, and then I started doing this EventedMind thing. And I put up a course on JavaScript, and I didn't know anything about marketing or whatever, so I put up the site, and no one came to it, except the Chinese hackers. They come right away on Amazon. So and then I put it aside and started working on some other things. But the way I came up with the name was, of course, evented architecture is something you hear a lot about in Node and so on. I thought, it's not too dissimilar from how my mind works. I take some input, and then I don't understand it at all, and then something in my brain goes to work on it asynchronously, and then I wake up a couple days later, and it's ready. So I said, oh, EventedMind, and then I said, there's no way this domain is available, but it turns out it was. So that's how I came up with it.
Thank you.
Sure.
What's next? What's your next screencast?
The next one? Well, I still haven't made my way through Spark, so there's at least 3 more videos on Spark. We're up to I believe, the landmark. It's a landmark. Did you guys like my joke? It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a landmark. Landmarks. So anyway, yeah, there's 2 more, I think, annotations. But then we'll get into lists, and I'd like to sort of go through, how each works and that kind of stuff. And then I'll probably drop up, or step back, and maybe go back to the server side. I think it'd be interesting to explain how fibers work and kind of what's going on and how Meteor scales. And that kind of stuff. And I mean, the framework is literally changing underneath of me, and that's fine. I'm just going to keep doing these, and it's more about explaining the concepts and that kind of stuff. So. Yeah.
Here's a question. I mean, maybe it's for everyone on the dev team. How necessary actually is it to really understand what's going on under the hood with stuff like Spark? And
incredibly important. It's
I've run into situations occasionally where I'll get some completely cryptic error message about landmarks and something, and I wish I could know what's going on, but is it the sort of thing where with Rails, eventually if you keep digging into active record and stuff, you actually get a lot more out of the framework for doing that, or is the idea to try to hide all of this?
I have my answer, but it's probably more appropriate for the core team to respond.
I'd like to know your answer.
So no, I don't think it's required, right? I mean, part of, I think, the pitch for Meteor is that you can, I rewrote the entire blog app in a day, right? And it took me a month to do it in Rails. And that's just a basic credit, with real-time comments. But with that said, I didn't know Spark at all. And I did it for the sake of these screencasts, but it didn't take that long, and it particularly doesn't take that long if you watch screencasts on it. And I think it's interesting to look at it because Spark is an incredible piece of software, and so to understand just sort of how it works, I think you get enjoyment out of it. So even if you just did it, on a Sunday or something. But if you want to know where notify parent through error or landmark not found. Those come up quite a bit, so it does help, particularly the Spark series. And you're going to spend a couple hours on it, and I think it's probably worth it. Is that?
Yeah, I think I think that there are a couple things going on right now. One is like, you get cryptic error messages from inside Spark slightly more often than you should. And it's usually something like you had an exception when rendering a template, or something else went wrong, and there wasn't a try catch at just the right place that put an error message saying like your problem is here. So I think that's like definitely something we need to clean up. And the diff to fix all of that stuff is probably 100 lines, and it's mostly just adding some more try catches. I think that the advantage, and I hope that like for most of the things you want to do if you're building like your blog site with real-time comments, I hope you don't have to take Sunday to learn Spark. Like hopefully you can do the whole thing in an hour, right? I think the advantage of knowing how things like Spark work and how things like depth work and maybe more about how DDP works on the wire is that those are the actual technologies that Meteor's built on top of, and they're we built them because we needed them, and they're powerful, versatile functionality for the most part. So where that becomes helpful is if you're building packages and you want to make your own new functionality. Like you want to list that animates better than the list we have right now. And you want to make your own reactive data source so you can get a variable that changes as like the window size changes or something like that. That's where learning those things starts to pay dividends. And the hope is that people who are new to Meteor don't have to learn that stuff. But once you've been doing Meteor for a while, maybe you get more sophisticated and learn how more of the technology works. That's when you can start making packages or better components that you can share with other people. So it's not like, oh, there's magic in a box, and only the core team looks in the box. Like, no, it's supposed to be for everyone. The other thing is the hope is that the intention is it's a modular system where if you want to take Spark and you want to use it in your backbone app, without the rest of Meteor, go nuts. So these components might be useful for other things too, for the same reason they're useful in Meteor.
Yeah, I actually started, I was building stuff for about a month before I even looked at it. I mean, I looked at it because I thought it was interesting that it was like noted, I'll come back to it. But then I wrote mini pages, and so to write mini pages I had to really understand how Spark works. That's one of the routing packages that's out there. So, does anyone use that? That's a shameless plug. You should use it in your
I'll check it out.
Thanks for your time.